Today, I'd like to talk about a phenomena that has plagued Western civilization as of the last few years, and it's a very interesting phenomena to observe. It's called toxic empathy. What is it, you ask? What is toxic empathy? Well, the best I can tell, it's people virtue signaling. I mean, at its most base level, it's people virtue signaling, is what it really is. But what they're sacrificing, what they're laying on the altar, is their own financial well being, their own psychological well being, and their cultural identity to some sort of oppressed people. That's essentially what it is. Now, within the hierarchy of those who partake in this activity of toxic empathy, we've got the three main personalities, the three main persons that are within this dichotomy, within this system. And the best I can tell, number one, you have white women. White women seem to be the most prone to toxic empathy. I mean, they'll go crazy. They'll scream, clot their faces, fall before federal officers, and they'll do anything. They'll sacrifice anything, and become hysterical. And why is that? Why is that? So, theoretically speaking, why I think it's so predominantly white women that are falling for this toxic empathy is you've got thousands of years of humanity and a climate that is very difficult to survive in without cooperation from the collective. So, I mean, you're talking about a winter. Like, winter gets cold. Like, you get further up into Germany and Sweden, and it's life or death in a few minutes outside in the dead of February. So, generationally, Europeans have had to learn to cooperate to survive. So, I'll give you an example. Say there's some fella, say it's me. Say I'm really good at growing wheat. I'm a slender man. I'm not built like an ox. Maybe built like a cheetah, you know. But I'm good at growing wheat, and my wife makes good bread. But there's this guy down the road. We don't necessarily really enjoy the guy's company. He may be a vulgar individual, but he's strong, and he's like an ox, and he cuts trees down, and he splits wood. Well, you know what? I need wood to heat my home in the winter, and I need wood to bake my bread. So I'm willing to trade that. I'm willing to trade that for his wood. And it goes even further than that because the empathy has to go an entirely another level. Because in the dead of winter in Europe, if say all of his food spoils by accident, he comes to my house, it's February, all his food's gone, and he goes, I'm starving, I need help. I'm certainly going to help him because the next season's going to come around and I'm not going to be able to split wood and grow my wheat. So I'm going to help this guy out because regardless, I need to be empathetic because my survival is dependent on this individual. So that's where toxic empathy attaches to the white woman. That's why she's so prone to it. It's amazing to see. I recently saw a short clip from an award show, and everybody's talking about it, and the person's probably enjoying that. But a recent musical star, Billie Eilish, she came out and she said no one is illegal on stolen land, talking about the United States and the ICE arrests and trying to make a big old scene and virtue signal of the highest order. Everybody sees it. This is how delusional toxic empathy can become. I mean, you're talking about a white woman from New Zealand who has a mansion she built on sacred stolen native land. Right there. And then you see she's filthy rich and she's amassed her wealth from the spoils of colonialism. I mean, just that alone. That's toxic empathy. And that is the white woman's role in it. And that's why you see so many of them. Now, next, second in line, we just have women in general. Why do we see so many middle-aged, just women in general, out freaking out and pulling their hair and going crazy on the streets? Why do we see this? Well, part of the reason this all starts back in the 1960s with the feminist movement. You've got all these women that were told that men were keeping them down. Men were keeping them down. They had to break free of the patriarchal social structure that had been built before them, and this was going to be liberating. They had to go out in the workforce, and it was a big scheme. Basically, it was allowed because now you've got two taxable incomes from one household, and then you have the degradation of the family, and the schooling system gets to get your children at a younger age, and you have no influence at all because mom has dropped the child off at daycare now to go work her day job because she's so liberated. But regardless of what the modern feminist movement tells women, those pesky XX chromosomes just come back to roost every single time. The maternal urge to protect, to nurture, to find meaning in helping the vulnerable. This is all motherly instincts. And this is where you see women getting tied up in all of this. They've got no kids. And they have to nurture something. They've got to care for something. Toxic empathy. Okay. And our third character in this trifecta, the beta male. Bless his heart, he never had a chance. His mom dropped him off at daycare. He's got all kinds of abandonment issues. We remove the oxytocin, the love, the tender care of a mother. And we drop him off in the charge of his daycare workers who could never give him the love his mother could. They'll do their best, but it's probably only add up to about 10% because it has to be distributed throughout all the other children. And he has to learn to be submissive and agreeable, and those become his leaders. His authority figures are women. And as he grows up, this kind of continues through school. And but there's also programming that goes into it with like the television shows they watch. And I'll give you an example of one I had seen. I saw the first and the second of this series. It was called The Croods. And if you'd ever seen it, the animation is excellent. It's alluring. The story's fun and playful. But underlying the story is this weird, insidious idea, right? And it's this idea that the man is feminized. All the heroes are women, and the men are all incapable boobs. They can't do anything. They're ridiculous. Like they're always being saved by women, and the men just bumble, and they're buffoons. And this is common with these movies, and this is what children are saying, and you see it into your teens, and even in adulthood. We see movies now where so often the woman is the masculine person, and the male is just a dweeb, incapable of anything of honor, right? And then it goes to even a further like core root of what a male is. Like we have testosterone, right? So you take these men, and through a lifetime, you sit there and you demasculate them, and they grow up into these man boys. And you know exactly what I'm talking about, what these man boys are. Like you're like 35, 42, and you're still wearing like you're dressed like a 13-year-old boy, right? You're still playing video games all day long. And some of them still live in their parents' basements. But they're going to show up to these protests. And these guys are still men. Like you could take the dog out of the fight, but you can never take the fight out of the dog. That testosterone is still in there. And that's why you see these men and they don't even realize it, through a lifetime of being suppressed, their masculine side being suppressed, they're violently angry, and they're misdirected. And now they're misdirected. And this is what you're seeing. This is what you're seeing in modern civilization and toxic empathy. Be good, do better. God bless.